Welcome to the Railsplitter Woodshop, and as you can see behind me, I am at the Railsplitter Woodshop that I teach at, that all of my students come to every day before all of this stuff came up. And I'm going to give you a quick tour here and show you not so much tools, specific tools, but I'm just going to kind of show you the shop itself, what we have in here, and the way we use some things, kind of some shop flow organization type things. So if you are a shop teacher and you have any good suggestions, I'm listening. Leave them in the comments below. Students, leave me a comment down there. Let me know you're watching. Anybody else, if you run your own wood shop, if you have suggestions or anything that you see that could be different, that could help us, could be a little bit safer, whatever, send them down below and I will check up on them. Thanks a lot. And this is our shop, and I'll be honest with you, it's awesome. So especially for a high school student to be able to come into here every day. I'm trying to set my stand down here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a tour here of our wood shop. I'm not going to go a lot into specific tools or anything like that. I'm just going to kind of show you everything a little bit real quick, and then I'm going to go through and ask 5 questions at the end. When you first walk in to the Railsplitter Woodshop, one of the first things you come to are our safety stuff, our PPE stuff. This is just like the daily stuff that I have out, that I leave out. We have a lot of other things. Another thing that I want you to keep in mind is if you see a lot of the shop jigs and stuff that we do in here, I want you to know that I push our students to do a lot of that stuff. I don't do much of it. I help them, and I want them to take ownership in the wood shop itself. I want them to kind of learn these types of things as well, and that's kind of helped promote like them to kind of buy into it a little bit. So not everything we do here is perfect, but it's student made. So in my opinion, that's the most important thing. We have this where we keep all our safety glasses. We leave earplugs, dust masks, and gloves out. Those are the daily type things that students need, so they can come here and grab them on their own. They don't have to come to me with everything. We have some other stuff that we use, but I keep that stuff up. When you also walk in, we have a lot of our drafting supplies, sandpaper, and right through here is my very own office. So I'll tell you right now, it's dirty and disorganized. Right when this whole pandemic thing kind of went down, we were in the middle process of moving a lot of this stuff from another shop. Let's see if I can adjust it here. Moving this stuff, or not from another shop, but from another storage room. And so a lot of the stuff got put in here because this was the best place for it. We have plans of getting all this stuff out. I changed this room around a lot a year ago. One of those big plans and one of those big things we're doing is I have a student that is this is where I leave a lot of our more expensive hand tools. We have some really nice hand planes and pull saws and burnishers and card scrapers and things that I like to keep, gouges and chisels, things that I like to keep sharpened and clean. I keep those in here. They don't stay out there for the students to just grab whenever they want. So it's helped keep these nicer. And one of the things one of my students was doing was we're going to take a 4x8 sheet of plywood, and he's been working on organizing all of it. All of this is going to be gone, and there's just going to be a hand tool wall up here. So I'll be really excited when we get that done. While I'm thinking about it, one of my students here made me this. So this is a hockey stick. One of my students plays hockey, and he was he got into making some hockey sticks. He watched YouTube videos and stuff like that and picked up how to do it, did all of this on his own. He got into steam bending, and then he gave this hockey stick to me. So, with my initials on it right here. I love it. So, I've got to get this thing posted. I've told him that I'm going to post it, or get it put up in our shop here somewhere. But this is one of my favorite things in this entire shop. So, as we move on, I do keep in this office here, we do have like a Festool domino and some other stuff back in there. I keep a lot of that stuff up and in here because I don't want that out where anybody else can grab it. Anyways, so follow along. We'll keep going. As you leave my office and we go down here, here's a quick, this room is directly behind my desk here in the shop. See if I can get the light kicked on. All right, So we have a dedicated room for our dust collector. I don't know how big of a motor that is, but this thing was installed back in like the 1940s when they built this shop. And so one thing that's kind of interesting is a lot of times you see dust collectors are put on the outside of a shop. This one is on the inside, so we have to keep it clean and clean it out. You can also see a really nice air compressor that we have back there, that we have dedicated air hoses to, and we use those throughout the shop. One thing I will also show you real quick before I forget is one thing we installed just this last year was I put a really big jet air filter up there. It's on remote. And then if you see the second one, see that Grizzly way back there? I've got that one, we got a wall switch added for it so we can kick those on. I don't know if you can hear it, maybe. So now I'll take you into our finishing room where we do all of our staining, our painting, and all that fun stuff. We have a really nice hood here that I can kick this switch on over here. See if I can get it in. So I'll kick this switch on and lights kick on, and we have a big vent over top. Pulls all the air out, so when we're spraying or doing anything that we need to get the air pulled out of here, we can do that. There's a nice switch right here. Kicks on, come in here, spray, and turn it off. So we have a nice gun, nice HVLP gun. One of my biggest frustrations if you're a shop teacher is keeping all of this stuff clean. I will say one thing I've picked up on in the last year that I've gotten better about is instead of, I let students stain on any day that they need to. If their project is to that point, they can come in here and stain, and I go through, we have rags, we have all our stain in here, they can do that. But I'm only clear coating on certain days, and that's because I can fill the gun up and we can get in here. We use acrylic lacquer and we can spray all of our projects within that hour and then get them done, get them out. So that's helped a ton. Instead of Bobby, you can clear coat Monday, Susie, you can clear coat Tuesday, Johnny, you can clear coat Wednesday. Instead of that, it's a never-ending process. So I announced to the students, hey, these 2 days we're going to be clear coating, and that usually takes care of it. That's helped out a ton. So, all right, leaving our finish room and going back into the shop here. So, and again, I'm not going through and using these tools. I'm just gonna try and point these out to you, and I'm actually gonna be making some more videos this week, and possibly even today, on the tools themselves. So, we do have a Shapeoko CNC machine. That was one of the first things that I wanted to get for us in here, and the students love it, and they're actually really good at it, and I have a lot of students that right away get better at it than me on it, especially the software and learning Carbide 3D. We do have dovetail templates. We have a router table here. We have some scroll saws. This is something that's kind of nice to have. We have a couple pieces of slate here, and this is a glue-up table. I used some free weights that the PE department wasn't using, and we have clamps. We have a lot of clamps. You can probably maybe see them back there. I have a clamp shelf that I built a year ago. So it's nice keeping all those over there. But this glue-up table, it is nice because it gets students over here, and if they have a mess or whatever, no big deal, easy to clean up, and the glue table stays flat. So, moving along. Okay, one of our main attractions of the shop, and this one scares students a little bit. So really, I'm really the only one who uses this, but I will tell you that having this bandsaw in this shop is so nice. I love this machine. We have 4 Oliver machines. We have this bandsaw, we have a joiner, we have a lathe and a planer, and I'll show you all those. They all, serial numbers all are around 1935 to the early 1940s, and then I'm sure World War II got going, and so a lot of that production stopped, but I'm not going to turn all the machines on, but I am going to turn this one on. So, but this big dog will eat. the one thing about these old machines is they'll run for a little bit. That one's not that bad. The joiner will run for 2 or 3 minutes. So we like to say bandsaw on when it's on. I'm kidding, but scroll saws, some other Eric Rimmel, if you're following here. We've got some shapers. I've used them some. I'm not that good at them, so that's definitely something I'd like to get better at. I just have a hard time stacking all the bits and everything and getting everything to the right shape and size. So we do have 2 saw stops, which is awesome. We have a saw stop table saw here that this one we primarily dedicate just to ripping. So I use this saw primarily just for ripping. Go through and try and get students to understand, like, we never want to cut. Just a basic rule of thumb is that I never want to cut wider than I'm cutting this way. When you go wider this way, that's when you can get into some safety issues. That piece of, whether it's, a lot of times normally that happens with plywood, but if a student ever tries to cut a piece long ways, that if we pinch between the blade and the fence, that's when bad things happen. So another good rule of thumb is I tell students, just because we have saw stops, don't think that, oh, well, I can be less safe now. No, that's not the case. You still have to just be as safe. Always assume and respect the tools. So, but what's awesome is that this specific saw stop is dedicated primarily for ripping. And now I'm going to turn you around here. Let's go this way. This saw stop is primarily used for crosscut. And we have multiple crosscut sleds that we use. And being able to have a crosscut sled, if you're a shop teacher and you don't have a crosscut sled, this is one of the best ways to dramatically increase your safety in a shop, especially with table saws. And I'm thinking about redoing these, and I've seen some where the sled is only on half of the saw, and that is fine. I think I might go to something like that, or I might build a couple more sleds where we're cutting and that piece falls instead of stays on a table. But if you have experience with a sled like that, please send me a message, because I'd like to know if that would be a good way to go. Okay. One of my other favorite tools in the shop. If you notice, all of my favorite tools are the old ones. So, this huge joiner, I believe measures at 8 foot. The bed is 8 foot in length. This joiner is a beautiful, beautiful machine. The one issue that we have, you can see the spring is missing right now. I have it, but this is one issue is being able to have a spring that will work properly in here. But this joiner is awesome and amazing. Well-made machine. I have an 8-foot lathe, another Oliver lathe here, which is nice, and we use it. Full disclosure, I'm really not much of a wood turner. I'm not very good. I've gotten a little bit better, but I will tell you that this machine is okay, but we have to use face plates with it. Donnie Carter, if any of you know Donnie lined me up with Chris Caliendo from Easy Wood Tools. He's the president of Easy Wood Tools. And so we bought this lathe, this Grizzly Lathe, about a year ago. It's turned around here. We bought this Grizzly Lathe about a year ago, and we ended up getting some Easy Wood tools as well. And I will tell you that this specific lathe is so much better and so much safer for the students to use. And so I've really enjoyed this. It's variable speed. You can control the speed, and I will tell you, this lathe has made us much better and much safer than that old Oliver. So all of my students use this lathe, and it's a lot of fun to use. So again, I'm not much of a wood turner, but this thing right here will make even somebody like me look a lot better. So we come over here. We do have a 24-inch drum sander here that is nice, with the exception of it's been used pretty hard for about 12 years. And it's seen some better days, and I'm getting to a point where we're having to spend a lot of maintenance days on it. Right now, the bed is out of level, and now I got to try and get that figured out. So that'll have to be something that at some point I try and get on. But yeah, I don't know how well you can see. If you can see the bed, this back corner here is tilted down, so nothing is sitting level or flush right now as we go through. So again, that nice saw stop. Here's our other bandsaw that we use. We get a lot of use. This saw gets a lot of use with us. I like to use the old boy over there for resawing, cutting down logs and stuff like that, just the big stuff. And then we like to use this guy for more of the precision type work and that stuff. We do have a miter saw here. Okay, miter saw station. Any suggestions to clean this up, make this more efficient? I'm listening. Another thing that we have that I absolutely love is that we don't have to take apart our saw stops to be able to put a dado on it. We have a third table saw in here. It's an old it's an old Rockwell unisaw. And it's awesome being able to leave this dado stack alone, and then so we can primarily use our other table saws just at will, and then we just leave this dado alone here. Our heater just kicked on, so I'm going to try and talk loud here. This is our awesome 24-inch planer. This one and the joiner are probably my two favorite tools in this shop. An old Oliver 299, and it just does work all day long. I'm going to have to do a separate video on this. I'm not going to kick it on. I will show you this real quick, and I'm not even going to go into detail, but it has its own sharpening system. So what I can do is I can take off the chip breaker and this dust collection hood, and we lock the blade. There's 3 blades in this, and we lock the blade into place. And then we plug this in. If you want to look over here, this thing has its own plug-in here. And we turn that on. And then from there, you just bring this disc across the tops of the blades when they're locked into place. And I'll have to do a separate video on it. It's actually really cool. The only thing is, what would be cooler is a helical head that's not loud like this one. Bought a disc belt sander from Jet this last fall. This has been really nice. Our old one conked out on us. While I'm on the ground here, I'm going to show you a couple other little things and then show you one final thing up above. This is I'm calling it a hand tool cart, but I use it to house like our dowel centering jigs, drill bits, screws, nails, tape, daily type stuff that we use. This was behind my desk a year ago, and I wanted to move it out here because it's the type of stuff I want students to be able to get to this stuff without asking me about it. Come up here, take care of it, keep everything organized, but less expensive stuff. I'm not going to put expensive hand tools out here. I'm going to put the basic stuff. We do have our drills. We'll have a drill and a charging station. You can see up there. But other than that, I'm just trying to use that primarily for stuff that students can get to pretty easily. Final thing I'm going to show you on the ground here is this is another storage room that we use. It is, let's see here, okay, we walk in, we use for tools and scrap wood and stuff like that here. These shelves back here, we've been housing like current projects that we're working on. It's fine. We still end up with a mess sometimes if I don't stay on top of it. It can really turn into a disaster. This is like the cleanest it's been in a long time. The one thing I did was I moved our drafting boards into here and to stack them vertically instead of laying them flat and on top of each other, and the papers get cut up. So we do have aprons in here as well. So I have a nice set of aprons for students to use I require them when we're turning, but then they can use them anytime they want when they're staining, gluing, painting, and I have some students that use them every day. Final thing I'm going to take you is I'm going to show you where we actually store our lumber. Our lumber, when I order it in the fall, comes through this overhead door. We get it out of a big wholesale place out of Chicago. They come down here like once a week. And come on with me. All right. We have a catwalk. Let's see here. Get you in here. So you can see this rack. We built this a year ago. We were storing everything flat up here. Everything was staying flat, 10, 12, 14 foot stuff laying flat, stacked up, and it would always get pushed around and kicked around and disorganized. Well, one of the things I noticed is that we were bringing long stuff up here and then taking it back down, and the first thing we do is cut it. So it's like, well, why don't we just rough cut it first before we bring it up here, and then we can keep everything more organized. And then what it allowed me to do was to turn things this way, perpendicular instead of parallel to what we have up here. So we built this rack up here, these 2x4s, and so I stack these things perpendicular by species, and now this has been a really good way to keep this lumber storage in much better shape, stacked squarely. As I'm talking, I see a couple back here that are not square, but it's been so nice to be able to have a good spot for that, stacked by species, and it's stayed in better shape. And but we primarily purchase poplar, maple, cherry, red oak, white oak, and walnut. If the students want to bring in their own wood, they can. But here, I have all that here, and I get it a lot cheaper than they can, unless they're milling it themselves. I get it a lot cheaper than anywhere else they can go and get it. So, and we just turn that savings back around to the students, and the students, they just basically, they get to price out their project. So the other nice thing for them is they're really not paying for the wood that they're cutting off. They're only paying for the wood that they're using for their project. So it really is the better way to go for this. But some of them still, they like to go out and buy their own stuff, which that's fine too. Five questions that you can answer. Go ahead and pause it right here. You can write these down, answer them. Students, if you want to throw them and send them to me on the Google Drive, go for it. What PPE is available right when you walk into the shop? Number 2, can you clear coat on any day that you want? Number 3, what is the big bandsaw used for? The old one. What do we use it primarily for? Number 4, what is the second saw stop used for? What is it strictly dedicated to? We have some stuff, some jigs sitting on top that we use that for. And then finally, name 3 species of wood that we house up above. So just name 3 of the species that we house. Hey, I hope everybody's doing great, and you guys keep in touch, and hopefully I can do a few more videos. I think I'll go through and do some just strictly on individual tools, some safety stuff. So, but other than that, I'm going to conclude our tour right there today, and I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe. Please leave comments down below if you have suggestions, thoughts, ideas, whatever it is that you want to throw in there. I'm listening. I'll check up on them, and I'll be interested to see. So anybody else want to post their own shop tours, that would be awesome to see too. Hope you guys are staying safe. Take care.